What's up, guys? I know it's late as hell, but it's crazy shit's going on, so it's not going to be a usual stream. I kind of just want to hang out, answer questions, and just see what the hell's going on right now. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. This is some wicked dumpage, man. Some crazy dumpage. People are sleeping like a thief in the night. They're coming like a thief in the night. But this is going to be a long stream. A potentially very long stream. And not as talkative of a stream, because I kind of like lost my voice a little bit after talking to tons of people yesterday and streaming yesterday. I'm a little bit sick. I've been sick since my New Jersey trip. But this will be a little like chat room for us to talk about what's happening. Put our heads together here and figure out what's going on. These are weird markets, man. Weird markets. We've seen some of the best traders in the world get humbled. Let me know in the chat if the things I've been saying the last couple weeks or months or however long you've been watching, like, let me know in the chat if it's been helping you. Not to toot my own horn, but like, I feel like whenever I stream, I don't know what it's like. I turn into someone who, it's like I don't even know who that guy is when I flip the stream on. I become a voice for traders, and I am able to just talk and talk and talk, and I'll re-listen to my streams like the next day because I wake up and I'm this guy, and I'm just like, god dang, like how do I just talk for an hour straight? And it's like, you know, just lessons and whatever the hell, like I just talk about whatever I'm thinking about. But you know, I always, for a long time, I was in this industry, and for the most part, I kept my mouth shut, you know? Not many people knew who the flopping Groper was. When are we going to be bullish again? We are bullish, bro. We are bullish. We're bullish because it pays to believe when other people don't. We're bullish because when the people, places, and things that we love fall, we are there to catch them. It's that simple, man. So let me know in the chat. Are you guys bullish? Do you guys still believe, or do you No longer believe. I wish I could say that I was still in some short trades, guys, but I did take profits off the table, and I'm here as a market spectator with you guys because I believe that the next move will be a long for me personally. But the shorts that I did take are because I am bullish, because I'm bullish from a certain point. I'm bullish from the point where I have the most advantage longing from that point. And if you believe in that level, which I don't even know what that level is exactly yet, you're never going to know until you see it. But anyone who's been following me on Twitter knows that, like, ever since this death wick, I've been casting suspicion on the V bottom. And I've had this vibe that these traders, these spot buyers, these Hail Mary people, the people in their Hail Mary longs, they are vulnerable. And nobody thinks that they can get screwed over twice. But what's that quote by George Bush? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you know, you're not gonna fool me again. I've definitely been in a flow state. I'm really grateful for this flow state that I'm in. But I promise you guys, there's no ego at play here. This is clarity. And, you know, when you have a big ego, that's when you lose money. You know, that's not when you start making money. A trader who is profitable and making a lot of money or having a great month, you know, if he can keep that money, that shows that finally there's been some light shined on the situation. So I have had some good wins this month, and I'm locking it in. I've had good wins this month, and my sister's gonna know it. My mom's gonna know it. My brother's gonna know it. I'm going to see the changes in my life. It's not going to stay numbers on a screen. The money is mine. There's no way to backtrack or give back. I have taken from the markets, and it is mine. So I just recently got out of some shorts because, you know, we basically swallowed this whole move. A big whale eating a bunch of krill. And so this definitely could chop down lower for sure, but I'm a spectator just like you guys right now. So, you know, it wasn't even a Bitcoin trade. It was a it was Fartcoin that I freaking traded. It was Fartcoin. Here we go. You guys can see my buy order on Fartcoin here. My short was up at the top. I didn't think it was going to be a good trade. I thought it was going to just be a shitty little scalp that I closed really quick and didn't tell anyone about. But then this big wick happened, and I just decided to stay in it, and it just turned into one of like the greatest trades I ever made, and it's not even really my strategy. I will say that you know, we did take, in hindsight, we did take the prior session's high, right? So this is my strategy, but I don't usually take my strategy on a day-to-day basis. I prefer the bigger plays, the week-to-week plays. So I didn't put this in the VIP. This was I was a hermit today. Because I didn't think this was going to be like that big a deal. I thought this was maybe going to come down, and I thought I was going to get stopped out. I thought it was a shitty trade. But I guess in hindsight, what makes so much sense about it in hindsight and why it's playing out so strongly is across coins, the weekly and monthly and quarterly range are all the same gigantic range that looks like this. You know? And so when this is the trading range, when the trading range is 90%, you know, what do you have to go off of other than yesterday's high, I guess, you know? It actually makes perfect sense, doesn't it? But it's not that I was thinking that. I kind of got lucky, you know? I mean, but I'm also here. I'm here at the right time. The breakout account is doing really great. I made some steady progress today on the main funded account that's been printing all month. But I also got funded on my second account. Here we go. I don't think there's some things that are not loading here, but I just got funded a second 100K account today, and I've taken 2 more payouts from these 4 here. But this total is correct. So, you know, total from Breakout, I've extracted 35K over many attempts. You know, there were some times I got funded and I didn't get a payout. Earlier in the year, I was still learning how to trade on funded accounts. It's different, man. You can't just revenge trade your way back and deposit more money and right your wrongs by just pouring more money at the situation. You really have to handle each account as its own little thing in its own little bubble, and it truly is an art. And I'm not even close to the best person at this game. So if you pull up the leaderboards, I mean, look, I'm only number 27 in the world on this platform. But, you know, this was on 100K funding. I bet you that a lot of these traders have the full 200K funding. So if I had 200K funding, then this number would have been like double. So, you know, that puts me, if I can keep this up, and if I don't fuck this up, basically, then I belong in here, guys. I belong in these top 10, top 15 breakout traders. Isn't that cool? It's taken so much work, guys. It's taken, you know, it's no longer taking these big gambles from random points in the market just because I think the price is going to last month's VWAP or last quarter's VWAP. We've gotten so much more precise this year. And, you know, while last year my gains were larger than they have been this year, my risk last year was damn near everything, whereas my risk this year was barely anything. That's the difference between the Nick Cypher by the end of 2025 and the Nick Cypher by the end of 2024 is me last year, even though I was cognizant of this fact and fully aware of it, I still let it get to me that I live in the shadow of my brother CryptoFace in this industry. And everyone knows that it is up to me to do right by him, to do right by Market Cypher, to become the Proto Cypher, the Neo Cypher. You know? It's not really ego, it's like It's just my responsibility. That's my, you know, that's my masculine pursuit. It's not out of any animosity to anyone, or it's not even rivalry with my brother. It is pure responsibility, pure duty, not just to my family or to myself, but truly I believe I have a duty to the trading world. I want to be someone important in the trading world, you know, because I have been here. And like I said, for many years I was quiet. For many years I was in Discords. I wasn't on social media. I was happy with my life. I didn't want to be famous. I relished in privacy. I didn't want anyone to know who I was. But that's just like not how the world works anymore, man. You know? As a modern person, you kind of got to put yourself out there. If you want to smash that ceiling and become someone who's like truly exceptional, not just someone who's only great or only average or whatever, you really got to put yourself out there, man. It's so much work, man. But I've enjoyed it. And it's been tough. It's been tough balancing all these other people with my own growth and success. But that's the price I pay for walking along this path before I had everything figured out. You know, like I had a belief, and that was what I felt was the only path I could take, you know? And I was just like, I'm gonna figure this shit out. I always had good things to say for traders that were useful to traders, but yeah, it's like I want to be a good example too. You know, I want the numbers. I want to bring truth and light into this space that is so dark and demonic, and there's so many lies, and there's so much bullshit. You know, there's like people killing themselves and shit. And there's so many people who are so sure of themselves, and then some shit happens, all these people get wrecked, and it's like these people don't even feel bad about. I don't know, man. But I always feel the fallout of the masses when it comes to the markets. I feel like I was one of the boatmen, one of the guards at the front of the gate, welcoming traders, new people, retail, whoever, into the markets, you know, as early as 2017, you know. And I wasn't really the best educator. I was not official. I was just a kid, you know. And that's crazy, you know. That's crazy that I took on that authority before I really earned it, before I was really on the other side of the bell curve of trading experience and knowledge. You know, I could snipe real good on Ethereum on, you know, 30x on the 3-minute chart, and it was flashy, and it was high confidence, and I knew how to read market cipher, but there was a lot more I didn't understand about being a leader for traders. That's you know, it's like damn near 10 years later, I fully understand those things. Anyways, man, not to get all sentimental, but I am here for you guys, just like I've been here for my brother, you know. I was there with him in the hot seat during his trades that made him famous, you know. I always had a a special lucky position in the trading world that really nobody gets to see. I got to see this perspective of it all that nobody gets to see. And it's like, I could never walk away from this industry and not share everything that I've learned, you know? Those memories have to live on. There was a lot of pain, a lot of victories, but there's also a lot of pain. And by learning from it and like teaching others all those little lessons, all the little things, I'm constantly just talking nonstop when I flip on a stream. I never realized there were so many little lessons and so many little things that I picked up, you know? But anyone who's been listening to my shit for the last 2 years, you picked up on a lot of you basically know everything I know by this point. So, Bitcoin, you know, I do have a plan if we break this low on Bitcoin, the big low. Because, you know, the Q4 VWAP, we are now in this year's Q4. So last year's Q4 VWAP would just be a trans-annual leapfrog. That's very strong support underneath good value year-to-date levels. I know it sounds weird. You know, your barber wouldn't believe you if you said 100K Bitcoin is cheap. But, it actually is, as is last summer's VWAP. Look at this little circle. It looks like a face. He's like, ha! He's eating the, look, he's eating the Q3 VWAP. But, you know, if we break this low here, don't panic. You guys have to stay bullish. I'm telling you, stay bullish, because the overall shape and the overallness of this net of VWAPs here, 2 years of anchored VWAPs, is that it's upsloped. You know, there's a lot of support in here. This is good structure. When you look at Bitcoin on big macro shit, look at that smooth Heikin-Ashi trend. It's actually like these candles are still thick. It's not like we're getting dojis here on these Heikin-Ashi smooth candles. So, I do believe that there's a bounce in this region, you know? Maybe not an all-time high bounce, but at least a dead cat bounce back up here, just like how Binance Coin did, you know? Because this is a really strong trend. Let's take a look at some shit coins, some Fart Coin and Aster. So, Fart Coin is death. Fart Coin is death right now. It is the devil. This shit is strong 5-day downtrend. It's crazy. I cannot believe I dodged this death wick last night, man. This was insane. This would have destroyed me. This wick right here. But on the stream yesterday, I did tell you guys, because yesterday's VWAP at this point was coming up like this. It's gone now because we're in a new daily session. But if you guys remember on the last stream, I told you guys that if you were shorting from up here, you want to take your profits at the daily VWAP, because you never know if there's like a little bounce there and then you go lower. But, you know, just that little bit of wisdom, like take your profit at the previous daily VWAP, spared my account. I mean, that was like an instant breach wick right there. And that's the type of knowledge and like wisdom that you gain from this channel. In trading, man, there's so many pitfalls. It's like Vietnam. You're in a Vietnam jungle. It's insane, man. I mean, how the hell do you know that a wick is going to come and take the daily high in a matter of seconds. You know? It's crazy, man. I feel bad for anyone who was trading at this time. This was terrible. But today was a new day, man, you know? You come out and once Fartcoin is testing this high, yesterday's high, which is an important level at this very special point in time, because what is the range on Fart? The weekly, monthly, and quarterly range are, it's such a huge range. All we have to go off of is daily levels. Look at the range here on Fartcoin. It's a 85% range. And so I guess, yeah, in hindsight, yesterday's high is an important level. Reject from there. And you guys got to imagine all these spot buyers, or maybe the 2x positioned people. I would say that this wick that stopped out I had a short-term scalp from like 20 cents to 35, right? That little trade in that moment, in the heat of the moment on Fart, got stopped out by none other than this wick right here. This is the wick that told me, this is the wick that pushed me out. Thank God I had already closed half the position and I took 2,500 profit, raised the stop loss to my entry damn near, or a little over my entry, and then I got stopped out. And so this level right here is personal to me, but I can't be alone. This has to be the level where tons of traders have put their stop loss on Fart. You know, because I was in there in the moment. I know how this chart felt when it was going in this low. And, you know, this volatility on Fart is so insane that if you were to dump from 20 cents to the low right here, see this little move right here? You get liquidated on 2x. It's impossible to catch that bottom. You know what I'm saying? You cannot. There's no world where you're like, oh, I'm on 10x, I'm gonna catch this shit and I'm gonna be a millionaire. It's like fucking impossible. So I personally don't think Fart is going back to 9 cents. I personally don't think, I personally think that this right here, this is the cream of the crop. The whales got in, CZ from Binance came in and got this price. We are never going to see, you know, we're never going to get this good of a price, in my opinion. But I think there's a very high likelihood that we push out everyone else. And so everyone else longed Fartcoin because they think, you know, what if Fartcoin is a cutting edge trading instrument? And yeah, it's got a goofy name and people laugh at it, but that's the point. Fuck those people who can't take a joke. We're all going to get rich. And so, you know, you place the retail trade and you put your stop right under that wick, you know? So this is the trade right here that is vulnerable going into this week. And so now we're in that new week. We're in the new week. Therefore, this to me is a level, man, I probably should have held my Fartcoin short. Because there's a potential that this literally nukes. It's not even halfway done nuking, but I had to get out, guys. The gains were so crazy. And I was in that short for 5 hours. I just felt like, you know, it wasn't going to last much longer, but it's fine. I'm at peace with being on the sidelines here on Fart because I got my lick. But across coins, look at the chart. And imagine that retail setup, right? The retail setup from last week, that's what's likely about to get hunted. And that might be your altcoin bottoms. I'm eyeing this level here on Fart. It would be really nice if we got that down there. I'm taking a look at Aster. So Aster's just like other coins in a strong 5-day downtrend. Kind of a difficult top to have caught here. There was no like SFP. Oh, you know, you didn't even get like an advantageous SFP of this little high. You didn't sweep this high from earlier in the week. It's kind of just dying down and just fizzling down. So that can be a tough little, you know, that can be a tough chart to get an advantageous short position in. Personally, I didn't see it. I wasn't looking at Aster. But the 5-day downtrend did a damn good job of shepherding the price down. You see this? So it doesn't happen like this all the way. Or all the time, I should say. It doesn't happen like this all the time, but the 5-day MA is killing it on Aster. If we go back, it has a track record of killing it on Aster. Like, the interactions around it are strong. Five-day MA is doing really good with Aster here. Now let me zoom out a bit and let me kind of see where a potentially a level of interest could be on this thing. You know, similar to Fartcoin. Not really sure if the death wick gets taken, but a level to potentially look for strength could be right here. Just basically just where the most obvious level that retail has their stop loss. You know, that once that gets hit, you look for strength there, and you could potentially, you know, buy some Aster or maybe take a trade. But also, if you believe in a better price, it allows you to be a bearish bull. It allows you to kind of be a little more comfy taking the shorts on the way to these superior long positions. Does that make sense, guys? I would say that anybody shorting right now who knows what they're doing is mostly shorting because they believe in better long entries arising in the aftermath of last week's traders getting shit on. You know? So if you believe in that strong enough, it gives you good trades in that direction. But I don't push it, man. I'm not gonna max extract. My name's Nick, not Max, but I'm not gonna max extract all the way down, because what if it doesn't go down there? What if these charts really are bullish? You know, I get out of these shorts relatively quick. But on Aster, it would be nice to take this low. So I guess you know, if you're interested in this DEX and DEXs, I mean, think about what happened to exchanges, centralized exchanges over the last week. There's a case that DEXs, with their transparency, might actually be the new thing. I don't know anything about the integrity of Aster as a DEX. My brother like pokes fun at it and like has funny things to say about it, but I know it is a DEX. But we can take a look at Hype too, because this is another popular DEX coin. Maybe centralized exchanges being corrupt and fucked up makes DEXs more popular in the next coming years, you know? And so maybe kind of like how Solana was a big thing that came around and made things easier or better for the crypto world, maybe DEXs are, you know, maybe decentralized exchanges pick up. But it looks like here on Hype, there was a big wick down all the way down to $20 here, but then it settles up here. So I guess your retail trades are just at this low here. Like, that's kind of the first level of defense, right? So now that just made me want to look at Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance has been, let's see. Man, I didn't, oh my gosh, look at Bitcoin dominance. That spike was insane, man. But, you know, 2 weeks ago, up to 2 weeks ago, I was calling out this dominance looking strong. Yeah, someone, Celinda in the chat says those are just scam wicks. Yeah, I think it's perfectly, you know, you got to kind of think of what are a majority of market participants thinking about those wicks. They are like scam wicks. You maybe could erase that big wick from your mental calculations and just use the settled out levels that coins found themselves at. You know, those stop losses are probably gonna be the bottom. But if the lows are taken, shit, man, that's terrible. But what was I doing? Oh yeah, so my live from 2 weeks ago, look, BTC dominance is looking bullish. I had nothing else to title that stream. All I knew was that at that time, Bitcoin dominance was starting to show some real signs of strength over like all VWAPs. Was not expecting this type of thing. Now right now it fell under that 5-day moving average, and now it's hitting that 5-day moving average as resistance. That is an interesting development. Not that this is the type of resistance where I would bet the farm on. This is not. It's prefer to trust prior weekly, monthly, or quarterly highs and lows for those types of moves, but it is significant. We've fallen under the 5-day SMA. That does give it a chance potentially to go sideways and then down. So dominance is going to have to take, you're going to have to be very observant of dominance over the next couple days. Can Bitcoin dominance break out again? Or are we kind of landlocked? Are we landlubbers here? And is something changing here? Is this, you know, maybe an alt season kind of alt season trigger or something? Bitcoin getting this blow off top, Bitcoin dominance getting a blow off of some sort. All I can tell you is that it's at an iffy time, a sideways 5-day trend type of environment. Therefore, my indecision is not my own, due to my own weak will. That is simply what is being shown on the chart. So, it's still up for grabs. Whether if Bitcoin dumps, alts equally dump and take their death wicks, or alts might hold. I know it sounds a little crazy, but if Bitcoin came down to here, to one of these VWAPs, I wonder what alts would do. I wonder if it's like, is Fartcoin going back to 9 cents? Personally, I'm like not so sure about that. I feel like alts kind of, you know, they took that initial hit, but maybe now, maybe it'll take some monitoring on that dominance chart, but it would be kind of cool to see Bitcoin dump and altcoins either go sideways or start rallying a little bit early. Not that I am as certain that that's going to happen, but who the hell knows, man? Got some questions in the chat. Jar Jar says, do you pay attention to market structure or just indicators? I mean, you guys all talk about like market structure. Like, you guys all sound the same, man. All you traders, you all sound the same. I feel like my analysis and my approach to the markets is like, I don't know why it's unique, but you guys literally all sound the same, man. But what is market structure? You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I look at highs and lows in the chart, market structure guys are saying, oh, there's a fair value gap, this little gap right here. This candle these three candles, there's a little gap between the top of this candle and the bottom of that candle. So they'll draw a little thing like this. Yeah, that's definitely going to hold for your long that nuked to fucking Hades. Now you're in El Diablo. Your little fair value gap got shit on. That's some like TJR, like 20-year-old TA to me. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I do see a place for it. There's definitely some good use if you're profitable with it. Hell yeah. And the more trading knowledge you have, the better, so things don't trip you up. But for me, like, the best levels are just like prior session levels. Like, just look at the high and low for last quarter, last month, or last week. If you're going into a new year, right here, no matter what happens, you should be targeting last quarterly high for a move back down to the previous quarterly VWAP. And look, that does happen. You come up, there's a fight, emotions every way, but oh, what do you know? We tag last quarter's high, we dump straight to last quarter's VWAP. What was the day that we hit last quarter's high? January 20th, Trump's inauguration. All right, well, you know, is that market structure to you? I don't understand. You know, is that market structure? I don't know how you guys define market structure. But that shit seems really complicated to me, man. I feel like you guys all like learn all these like crazy terms to sound smart. But I wonder how many of these guys on the breakout leaderboards trade with market structure. I mean, I don't even really know like exactly what that family of TA entails, like every little concept. It would need to be organized for me into like a book. So if there's a book I could read or something, then I could more accurately talk about it. But I guess I just don't know, man. I guess I just don't really, I don't want to talk about something I don't fully understand. All I know is that we love revisiting prior session levels. You know, when quarter two opens, shit, man, you're looking at last quarter's low. Once we hit that, oh shit, we go back to the Q1 VWAP. I put out a video in like May and June or whatever back here. I said, when Q3 begins, we're going to take the high and then we're going to look for signs to be bearish, right? And look what happens. So a new quarter begins, we take the high, and then right here, flopping Groper's bearish. And from a kind of month by month basis, you do get an SFP here. Yeah, we do go higher, but it's still bearish. It's just simply affirming. It's just a double top, basically, you know? So it's like the bearishness from here. I had one of my best months when a lot of analysts were super, super bullish and saying up only, market structure. Oh, like market structure. Look how it's going up. It's going up. It's going up and it's going up. So it's just going to go up and it's going to go up and it's going to go. It's market structure, bro. Market structure is the only thing that works. But your boy FG is over here like, what the fuck is market structure? You fucking flopping gropers. We just took last quarter's high. The moment we make a red candle, it's like, you got to turn bearish, bro. You know, because what's probably happening is the eventual move down to last quarter's VWAP. You come in here on these like little weekly, there's so much fractal weirdness going on in this shit. It's hard to even. You put two weekly VWAPs at, you know, this little high here, like how, you know, we'll measure how that went down. And look, you'll see little, corrections down to the previous weekly VWAP. So it's like happening on a weekly basis, monthly basis. What about this high? Let's see. Let's put some weekly VWAPs on the weekly chart on that little part there. I don't mean to shit on market structure. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. Just like how, you could easily shit on market cipher, but the whole point of any form of technical analysis is to derive the value from it, accept that it's not the one-size-fits-all solution to everything, but if you can have a broad-based knowledge of technical analysis, that sets you up for a really nice, long, healthy career in trading and analysis. But, look at this. A new weekly VWAP comes over here. And once we take that weekly high, right there, and also the high from earlier in the quarter, once you take that level, that's your short back to last week's VWAP here. Sometimes these VWAP trades, like if you leave them open, they just keep running for you, and you like end up just catching the Pico top. But I tend to mostly get out. I mean, time moves slow when you're in a position with your money on the line, So it can be tough. It can be tricky to get the most out of it. It can be tricky to let a good situation ride. Just like how you want to double text that girl, that hot girl that you met. You want to text her the next day that you met her. You want to text her 2 times, 3 times. You want her to reply, and you want to fall in love. You want to get married. You want to have kids. You want to have sex. You want to do everything. But it's like things take time. You know what I mean? Like let it play out. Let a good situation ride. Don't be so quick to take all your profits off the table. Accept whatever happens. Make sure that this red box here, if that box gets filled, you're okay with that. And that'll help your mental a lot. Staying within your risk management. Making sure that this loss isn't the loss that defines you. The swing failure pattern is a really useful tool for trading with VWAPs, because VWAPs are an average, right? So typically price is going to swivel around them. And it's up to, what I love about the swing failure or the sweep of a prior session high low is it is a method of getting you that Pico top or Pico bottom entry for a style of trading that honestly doesn't even need it to be profitable. Like most VWAP traders, Brian Shannon, the teacher, he'll preach strength. He'll preach to not catch the knife. He'll preach, if you got a VWAP here, he'll say don't buy down here. He'll say buy when you get the break out, and then the support test, and then this right here. That guy gets in here, And so I have combined a lot of the concepts of VWAP into other things as well. I guess a lot of that is market structure, but you just won't catch me. The thing is market structure will keep you. Market structure will tell you that when you're here, that you should still be super bullish and you should think this happens. That's my problem with market structure. Whereas with VWAPs, you have this idea of we're in Q3. There's this desire to go back to that Q2 VWAP, back where all the volume is from the last 3 months. But it's like, how do we get there? It's going to be a complicated road to get there. But if you believe if you believe in the outcome, it makes the journey there a lot easier to tackle. It makes it so you can, it means so you can long knowing that we are going to take this high, and then that creates the most advantageous position to start thinking about that downside. Just like how what happened recently. You know, I get comments on my videos, man. Just on my last video. Look at this guy. You can TA all you want, but one tweet can get you wrecked. This is just a Fugazi horoscoping for adults that want to lose money. Look at this guy. Amazes me that everyone's still trying to follow TA videos. This is not going to make you rich off bullshit advice. Otherwise, these traders, in quotes, would have made money instead of talking. Analysis is always good to learn and need. Just don't fall for courses and bullshit. Fartcoin? LOL. Okay. You know, this is what people think about you as a leverage trader. They talk shit. But in my opinion, these types of people, these are the people who tried leverage trading, didn't want to learn it, and they fucked up, and they are failures. And it's like their life's mission to make sure nobody figures it out like they couldn't. Or maybe they just, you know, they haven't stuck around, they haven't seen the results and stuff. But one tweet can kill you. You know, when I look at my payouts here, this $17,000 payout that I took in March, what happened on that day? Look what happened on, so that was this candle right here. March 3rd was right here. This red dump here. That was a Trump tweet. Do you guys remember? Trump's son tweeted some shit or whatever, and the markets pumped and then dumped. It was a pump and dump after a terrible end of February crash. You guys remember that? Well, all that happened was the VWAP from Trump's election, November 4th. This was the VWAP that was the bubble that had to be popped for the beginning of the year. You see all these interactions on that Trump VWAP? We were all over this shit in the VIP. And so we break down, and we had this beautiful brand new monthly period. The brand new month of March, a new monthly VWAP to base our ideas off of. And it came as a surprise because February 28th, February only has 28 days in it. So next thing you know, oh, it's March. Let's put a VWAP on February too. The February monthly VWAP. You know, so look at this monthly leapfrog. It's just a jump from the new March VWAP back straight up to the confluence of the February VWAP and the Trump VWAP. And that's that Trump VWAP, you know, that was the major support. Now it's resistance, right? I took that trade. And also, on a week-to-week basis, let me show you a weekly VWAP. Where the hell are we in the chart here? What the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? Okay, here we go. I think it was here. No, it was the one before. Let's see. Ah, here we go. Yes. Now I remember the trade. So I showed you guys, you know, we had the Trump VWAP and the February VWAP were right here, right? And look at the distance we were. A rate on this new week, a new Monday candle had printed. And I'm looking at the chart. And we're 6% away from last week's VWAP. And so I took this trade right here. And I just happened to full port it. And I let a little bit of it ride. And that right there was the 17K payout. That was this payout right here. All based off of a Trump tweet. In that Trump VWAP and all that shit. And so, you know, this guy, one tweet can get you wrecked. Well, my response to that is, well, one tweet can make you rich. If you know what the fuck you're looking at, you fucking asshole. Go fuck yourself. And this guy talking shit on Fartcoin like it's not the most volatile, cutting edge trading instrument that's ever been released in like the last few years. It's like, it's insane how beautiful and volatile and clean trading on it can be. And now it's dangerous if you're not an experienced leverage trader. You're basically just signing up to get molested. If you can't cut losses, if there's problems, you know, I've also been chopped on Fartcoin. You know, you'll take a big L and it's like, you really got to be careful on this thing. You know? But, really? You're going to make fun of a meme coin for having a funny name? Okay, you square. You know, it's like, I just made $40,000 trading it in the first 2 weeks of October. So, who's joking now? I'm like laughing to the bank. My whole family's eating. Who cares what the hell the name of the thing that I traded? I don't care if you trade gold. I don't care if you trade cattle futures or crude oil or Fartcoin or whatever. It's just a chart, bro. So it's just some of the little criticisms, you know, sometimes it makes me laugh because I am a trader with a track record. And so it's like, that shit doesn't work on me, man. Go comment on Carl the Moon or some shit. Go like troll someone who hasn't been in here for the last 10 years, like mastering the markets and like being here, talking to traders, working with traders. I didn't have the luxury to walk away or to give up and to say, oh, this sucks, this is hopeless. I didn't have that luxury. I had to figure shit out. Mr. Moonlit says, the people who talk crap either can't trade or lost too much trading and gambling or don't have the balls to trade and they give up. It's true, man. People, they try something and they fail at it, and it's like they want to ruin it for the next person. Instead of just accepting that they know nothing about that field and they should probably shut their mouth. Mr. Falcon asked a question. He says, regarding anchored VWAP, what's the most important point yearly or from the start of a bull run? Ooh, that's a good question, man. You know, obviously, the bigger the VWAP, the more the importance, in my opinion. And so, last year, I started really getting into the year-to-date VWAPs. I would say that you guys have to agree, any VWAP traders out there listening, you can't go wrong with a year-to-date VWAP, man. You know what I'm saying? You're doing well for the year. You should probably long. You're underperforming for the year. You should probably be bearish. You know? A year-to-date VWAP is amazing. And just like how there's monthly leapfrogs and weekly leapfrogs and quarterly leapfrogs, there's also sometimes you get a yearly leapfrog. Sometimes, when a new year begins, if if there's an idea that you can subscribe yourself to, perhaps not without being, don't be a cultist about it and make it define you. And if it doesn't play out, it shouldn't be the end of you, But at the start of this year, I was very, very bearish. Why? Because I was looking for that yearly leapfrog. Now, what I know now, as a more experienced, I have a whole nother year of trading with this tool under my belt. At this time, I knew we were going down here, but I didn't know how. Whereas the me now knows to target the prior session's high. So if you took me in my current form and you teleported me back into January of this year, I would have changed my life here. And so you guys are seeing the circles overlapping and the pieces coming together, and now you're seeing the results. Like, these are the results right here. If you can believe in the direction of the VWAP and get that sniper entry, that's what it takes, man. It's like, it takes everything. You can't get one thing wrong. It has to be perfect. The timing has to be perfect. CT says, do you remember Crypto Kirby? I love that guy, man. And I don't think any less of him for taking time off or walking away from his YouTube channel. I think that the moment that you can't walk away from something, that means that you're a slave to it. And like, the whole point of trading is freedom. And so I hope that it's not because like he lost all his money or he's in prison or dead. I hope it's for positive reasons. I hope it's because he didn't need it anymore. But he used to be in my algorithm, man. I used to watch his stuff. He was a cool dude. Mostly just talking about things like fair value gaps and, the basics that a lot of people talk about today. And he was a YouTuber who sold mentorships and he paved the way, like a few others, like my brother. He paved the way for what a trading business looks like. He paved the way for like showing people how to like be a trader and a man for others. And a lot of people have this toxic perspective of like people who do this thing. From my perspective, the reason I got into it is I am literally a man for others by doing this. I am taking on the additional responsibility of being public, because that gives me the most leverage. It helps me connect with the most people, helps me help the most people. It puts me in the position to make the biggest difference. And it's just simply the best thing to do. If you're going to do something, do it all the way. It's like, go full throttle with it. Go all the way with it. You want me to spend 12 hours a day trading, but you don't want me to spend that getting the most out of that? Like, so these people who like, and also buying mentorships and buying help from someone, there's nothing wrong with that either. There's obviously tons of bad mentorships, bad services, bad indicators or whatever out there. But who cares, man? It's a free market. There's tons of college courses that are fucking useless. So, it's like, who are these people to say this girl on the side of the street can't sell lemonade, or this other guy can't sell this or that? It's called a free market. You buy what you want, you sell what you want. The people who see the value in things purchase them for that price, because that's the price that both parties agree is the right price. I've never seen so many grown men be such Karens about a free market. So that's my take on that whole, this whole industry is, man, I love seeing guys like Crown and my brother, and Jason Casper. When you do a trading business right, it's just like any other business. It's awesome. You guys got me cooking. You guys got me ranting again, man. This shit's... I thought I was going to be quiet today. Let me mute real quick. Let me grab a drink. And handle one thing real quick. I'll be back in 2 minutes here. I'll be back on the hour, guys. I'll be right back. Yo. Had to take a little break there. But, you know, we have been talking for a while, guys. So we've let some price action play out. And looks like for now, Bitcoin is staving off this plunge into the retail stop loss range. You know, those retail stop losses are like right here. It's so obvious. So, you know, for now, I'm really happy that I took my profits. Because it's kind of stalling. Let's look at Fartcoin here. Yep. Oh, wait, what the? Where are we? Oh yeah, this did stall. Hold on a second. Ooh. My exit on my Fartcoin short was damn good. For now. I did not smoke weed. Moonlit's like, how was the weed? I didn't smoke weed. I had to open the door. I had to make a coffee. I had to get some things situated because I haven't eaten all day. I will say that I ebb and flow between that stuff. Sometimes, some months out of the year, I will be like a pothead, but there are times where I really just gotta like, here's what I'll do is like, I'm not concerned or I'm not attached to my bong. I'm not attached to a pipe or a bong or any of that shit anymore. There's no part of my identity that's like, I'm a stoner, bro. And so whenever I feel like quitting, I grab the trash can, I put it on the side of the table, and I put all my weed shit on the table. And with one sweep of my arm, I sweep it all into the trash. Whether it's cartridges or bongs or whatever the hell. Literally just put it all on the table next to itself. Every little thing, a grinder, all your little memorabilia that you have. Just throw it all in the goddamn trash. And then call your mom and tell your mom what you did. I love doing that. I do that like twice a year. And then like 2 months later, I'll get some. It's actually, you know, it's you guys. I do consultations with you guys, and like 1 in 10 of you works at a dispensary and mails me like dank weed, and so then I start smoking on it. It's you people. But right now I'm not smoking any weed. But with anything in life, especially with trading, you know, anything can, it's a fine line between a hobby and an addiction. Trading is potentially a much more dangerous addiction than weed, you know? So make sure that this is your hobby. It's either this is your career, and it's your hobby, and it's your passion, it's your craft, it's your escape. It can be all those things, but it can't be an addiction. There's a fine line there, man. It's tough to, that's a blurry line, man. Where do I draw the line between I have to be here every day for traders, I have to be disciplined and every day matters, and if I want to catch those opportunities, I don't want to miss those opportunities that come once a year. There's a fine line between that and letting it take over. But that's another reason why, like, stepping out is like, oh, I'm gonna YouTube, I'm gonna have this trading business, I'm gonna do this whole thing, I'm gonna do the whole thing. Now I can be addicted to trading and it doesn't look weird. So maybe I am addicted to trading, but I don't know. I've just set it up in such a way where it's positive. Had some major, lots of little orders, you know, lots of executions over the past few days on this account. You know, it's not, you guys are wondering, like, how come there's not more signals in the Discord? You know what I'm saying? And I can confidently tell you that, you know, for the most part, you really don't want to follow a flopping Groper signal. It's the system. It's the how to fish that you need, you know, because this is insane. You know, this is crazy shit. If I just gave you one of these little moves, it's probably not the right one. Look at my let me check my win rate on this account. This account's up almost 20 grand in profit, and look at my win rate. You guys see, like, this is what trading really looks like. This is why the signal group is a lie. Because the real art of trading is your ability to close a trade when it's this amount and let trades ride until they're at least this amount, you know? The analysis is really important. And you guys know how good my analysis is. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, like, you know, even though there's moves that I get completely dead wrong, there's also, like, things that I get crazily right, you know? But this is the real end result, is, like, you know, most of the time I'm cutting my losses short, you know, and I'm trying my best to let those winners ride, and, like, the trades that do hit, you know, getting myself into that larger macro move on the 1 minute chart. It's hard sometimes, man. I flop and grope. I am the flopping groper. And you'll get these days, oh, minus 560, minus 800, minus 1100. But then these days come, the 5K days, or the 2000 days, you know? So that's why, you know, earlier today, even though I was in little shorts from up here, they weren't even big shorts. It just, I got lucky and this happened, and I ended up passing a second challenge, and then I got a nice little payout on this account. But I didn't call this in the VIP because we weren't sweeping a weekly high. We weren't sweeping a quarterly high or a monthly high. It was just kind of like a day trader type of trade, you know? Just old Groper, you know, because I'm addicted to trading. I kind of just saw this. I just kind of know that Fartcoin likes to do daily leapfrogs for some reason. Like, if you put a view up on the 12th, look at this move. As soon as the daily VWAP came, we moved straight there. It's like we didn't even come up for the highs and then go there. For some reason, Fartcoin does this sometimes, where, like, you get the new daily VWAP, and maybe it's just so volatile that it doesn't need to, like, hunt anymore. Just by Fartcoin having nice normal moves, it screws everyone over because it's so volatile. So I don't know if that's the reason, but betting on yesterday's VWAP on Fartcoin, sometimes it works. And so, you know, we're in a declining 5-day moving average. We are bearish, right? I was really hoping that we would actually hit that 5-day moving average, or we would actually hit the week to date. But, you know, that new daily VWAP came, and I just said, you know, fuck it. I'll risk $500 on this account, maybe to get 1,000 or 2,000. It's probably a shit trade, and so I didn't call it for anybody. And then, of course, this is the big freaking Darth Maul wick. I mean, I really had no idea this was going to happen, guys, but in hindsight, Fartcoin does like to go back to yesterday's VWAP like that. You know? Look at this wick right here. That was a very similar wick yesterday, from yesterday to the day before that's daily VWAP. I am flopping groping on these charts just like you guys are. There is no fantasy land world where flopping groper is just this savant slash sniper who comes in for 5 minutes, hits the big move, and then goes to sleep like a baby, wake up, and I'm in 20 grand profit. That's not what this shit is. That's not what trading is. It's gross. My pits are sweating right now. Is there any important news going on this morning, guys? Let me know. I'm not the news guy. That's usually my brother Crypto Guy on the internet, but what do I search on Twitter to, what's going on Twitter? Shout out to Trader Geo, man. He's been low-key calling for that dump on all. You can see my Twitter kind of sucks. It's mostly just a bunch of people that my algorithm's like, do you want to talk shit on this person? Or it's someone in the Market Cipher community that I'll leave a comment on, or I'll say some funny shit. I usually follow you guys. You guys are my feed. So, I mean, you guys need to start tweeting some smarter shit, because, Jar Jar says, Powell speaks today. Orange Light says, some guys were following 100x. Show off winners. I know some guys also did negative 10,000. Well, I mean, it's okay to flex a 100x trade, right? Because leverage is relative. It literally doesn't matter what your leverage calculation is. What matters is like the total trade size, like the contract size, and the total risk. So I personally, like, I see no problem with I mean, you have options. You could post the dollar amount of your P&L card. That's cool too, especially if it's a big amount. That's very motivating to people to post, hey, I made 5 figures in this trade, or 6 figures in this trade. You know? But also posting a percent gain can be great too. That's the real measurement of how good the trade was, is the percent gain, right? But it's all good, man, as long as you're posting. As long as you're posting consistent profits. No, you don't want to post one trade. You know, you post, what you want to be careful for is that guy who posts a 100x trade and then you don't hear from him for a month. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like posting profits, but I have been posting them regularly recently because I'm on a campaign. I am on a campaign currently to show my consistent result process. You know? And, you know, next month I'm probably not going to be bragging or whatever and posting this shit that much. But every couple months I got to come out and I got to, you know, let you guys know who you're dealing with. But yeah, I guess Powell is talking today. I don't really know if that's for sure. Looking at the charts here, Fartcoin is still. We're seeing a little bit of hidden bear div here. You know, we're starting to see this momentum desert. There's no blue waves to the upside here on FART, really. Most of the wave action is down here below. And so what's likely to happen is another like kind of big blob, right? And so oftentimes these little nodule, these little trigger waves in the side that is a momentum desert can be a big trade. You know, this is a potentially, what this is showing is the oscillators coming up and the price is at a much weaker position, right? That's a very strong continuation pattern that you can catch with Market Cipher. The opposite scenario would be like back here. You know, at this stretch of time, you're in an uptrend, right? Look at the surprising lack of wave action below the zero line here. And most of the wave action is above. And so in these times, these little nodule waves here are there's a lot of value in here. When the price comes up, forms a higher high, and the oscillator kind of goes a little bit lower there, that's a lot of hidden bull div. We're looking at hidden bull div here. Now, sometimes they don't play out. Look, here was a hidden bull div. And then it would go up like that. Eventually, you know, one of them is not going to work. But in an uptrend or downtrend, you'll get a continuation. Here's a really great example here. So, you know, back here on FART, let me put that yesterday's VWAP up just to kind of give the chart a little context here. You know, let's say you have this idea that, and I hate doing this on a daily VWAP. I'm only doing this because it's FART coin, but usually this concept I would apply to a weekly VWAP situation. But just for the sake of the lesson, you get this new VWAP, and you are kind of targeting overall that previous session's VWAP. You end up in this downtrend here. You start testing the top of this VWAP here. What do you see? You see Market Cipher B actually creating a higher high on the oscillator, and yet the price is lower. You see that? Sorry, let me draw this better. So from this point to that point, the price is lower. And from this point to that point, the oscillator is higher. And you have this momentum desert, right? And most of the wave action is down here. So in this scenario, do you see kind of it's helping you? Which side of the Market Cipher B waves do you pick? And this is certainly a bearish read on Market Cipher here on the 5-minute on FART. But it can be tricky because look, it does look like basic strategy to the untrained eye. You see money flow coming up. You see oscillator divergence, bullish divergence here. The price had come down. Oscillator was trending up. But there's another side. You know, once it gets tired, hidden bearives start coming out. You know? So for every bullish wave setup, don't just think that goes on forever. You know, the other side comes and can take the reins as well. Especially if you have this larger idea of like, you know, in your TA, if your TA is telling you that you are aiming for lower, perhaps the levels such as the last session's VWAP or something, you know, you are aiming for this type of interaction eventually, that can kind of help you, you know, when you do see this point in Market Cipher, it can give you a little bit of extra confidence. Yeah. So right now what we're seeing is a little bit of hidden bear div on FART. Let's look at Bitcoin here. Again, a little bit of hidden bear div. It looks like basic strategy to the untrained eye. But there's a lot about this chart that is just bearish. You're in a declining 5-day moving average. Every one of these higher highs of the wave is a potential hidden bear div, adding that downward pressure The RSIs are very oversold here. Still, still resolving themselves. Yes. There's two sides to the story, man. Market Cipher as an oscillator, it's very neutral, very... There's a lot of interpretation involved. Right now, being under 2 daily VWAPs, pretty bearish, underperforming under the monthly VWAPs, the weekly VWAPs. We're under all VWAPs. And so in the scenarios where we just are simply just going down and more down, this is a prerequisite for that. This environment of being under all VWAPs is a prerequisite for that scenario. And so that means that scenario is in the cards. It's in the cards that this 5-day trend to the downside continues. Therefore, I would say it's in the cards that these retail stop losses I would be scared if I was schlong from that level right there. I would be a little bit scared if I was in this trade. I don't know, maybe yeah, it's like that's basically the retail trade. Something like this, wherever these retail people entered, they're all in here, but that level is the invalidation level. Okay, I have a delicious chicken soup. Let me catch up on the chat. Moonlit says 500 million bids down to 100K. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, man, we got some really strong supports down there. In the high to low 90s, all up in that 90 to 100K range is such strong support. Like I said, your barber wouldn't believe you if you told your barber, man, if Bitcoin gets down to 92, you have to buy some. You're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here. Oh, this soup is good. All right, I'll look at AVAX for you, bro. This is unique on AVAX here. It's a little bit unique here. I'm looking at AVAX. Interesting hidden bull div going on here. Price somehow forming a higher low. The little 1 hour like hidden bull div here. That's interesting. The problem is you're in a 5-day downtrend. You're under all VWAPs. I would not take that long. How do I see what? He said, ew, that's not good. How do you see that? I I would say that the retail long entry on AVAX is probably this. I mean, it could be this wick right here. But it's probably just this range. This is probably like the type of trade that most people are in. So while there could be like a little bit of like a move up here, it probably gets fiercely rejected, falls back under the daily VWAPs again. And my guess is like this, and that could be a bottom right there, and then you go up from there. You know, I do see a little bit of money flow scooping up kind of on the 1 hour here. This wick is insane, man. I don't think AVAX is going back down to $8. I honestly think that altcoins, like the worst, I think the worst has happened on a lot of altcoins. Surprisingly enough, it's actually Bitcoin that has like more downside. And so it's hard for me to say with like really any certainty, but it would be nice if Bitcoin dumped, that altcoins kind of just go sideways or hold. But who the hell knows, man? I just feel like altcoins, they already got like completely rinsed. All the altcoin charts need to do is wipe out last week's traders, and then there really is no one left, and it should be up only for a little bit. Whereas Bitcoin, it's a little bit more of a complicated scenario. We've still got people to destroy down here in the 90s and 100Ks. What other charts are you guys looking at right now? As of right now, I'm not in any trades. Not in any trades on Bybit. I got out of my short here. Looks to have been a good move so far. But even if Fart comes all the way down here to the retail entry, I won't feel too bad about missing this move, because this move right here was insane. I caught that on a real good leverage too, with an amount I was willing to lose. CT says thoughts on Sui. Let's take a look at Sui. Sui's one of the few cryptos that actually came up and briefly reclaimed its week to date, or rather last week's week to date VWAP, which is a pretty respectable like display of strength, I would say. On Sui, I do see, look at this, kind of difficult to spot hidden bull div here. It goes across the zero line. This is some shit that they don't teach you. But a green dot means that you're at a blue wave bottom, right? So you've been trained to look for blue wave bottoms below the zero line, but you gotta just conceptualize sometimes the blue wave bottom's above the zero line, right? So forget the zero line for a second. This is the blue wave creating a lower low. Never mind. As the price also creates a lower low. I screwed this up. I have no idea what I'm talking about. This was supposed to be higher. This low is supposed to be higher than this one. But, well, you know, it's not a hidden bull div. But this is something my brother likes. It's the trigger wave. You know, you've got some anchor trigger here. It's kind of got that going for it. But I would say that, you know, what's likely is that you come up like this, and that 5-day downtrend brings you down, and we stop these people out, and then it's, you know, you can get up only from there. I would love that scenario to unfold. I don't want it to bottom here. I would like a more advantageous entry. Not that it's guaranteed at all, but Sui it does look stronger than a lot of other crypto charts. It actually has some like pretty strong quarterly VWAPs down here from last year. See how it's settling on last year's quarterly VWAPs here? Maybe this is good support for Sui. It's tough to make that call because you would have to wait for this 5-day downtrend to kind of repair itself. It's going to take like 5 days for us to get to a point where we look at the Sui chart and it's like, this is clearly very bullish. Mr. Exciting Boring Life wants me to look at Algo. You know, what we're seeing here this morning, folks, is a surprise trigger wave at levels that are quite aggressively bullish, considering that, you know, we, as bullish longers, as people looking for a long, we want to target these people, you know? So to get this, if this low fleshes itself out, that's a little problematic for those greedy among us, the greedy perp traders among us. But you do see money flow kind of picking up here on the hourly, floating with the idea of this previous week today VWAP holding, you know, despite the 5-day downtrend. I gotta apologize for the mixed signals. If the signals weren't so mixed, I would be in some trades right now. DT wants me to look at ETH. Yep. ETH getting a nice trigger wave here. VWAP crossing up, RSIs about to snap into place, about to lock in together. Money flow picking up potentially. Interesting. What about Bitcoin? Yeah. Coin's kind of stalled out here, huh? We're getting this little bit of a stall move. Across cryptos, we are stalling. Tron, BNB, ADA, Link, XRP, everything is stalling out where it currently is. So this is good Heikinashi on the hourly. I would say if you want to take a swing, there's a chance that we go up from here. You know, there's a chance for sure. We're at some strong supports. We're seeing the hourly Heikinashis picking up. But the reason why I'm not taking any trades, and I really don't give a shit about this, is there's a more advantageous scenario for a long setup. There's two of them. There's this level getting taken, and then there's the Death Wick, the event that this is a really, really messed up week for crypto. Maybe a headline comes out in the next couple days. Maybe Bitcoin doesn't V-bottom, you know? And in this scenario, your longs are doomed from this current point. But if you're patient, there's a shit ton of money on the table for you if you're willing to be patient. I have a unique perspective because I'm a leverage trader. It's up to me to get the most advantageous entry so that the market doesn't... The market needs to not run away from me on 5x or 10x or whatever leverage I'm using. I simply cannot let the market run from me. And I can't lose ground to the market on leverage. You see what I'm saying? So I really need to step into the ring when my opponent is tired. Most weeks, that would be the sweep of the weekly high-low. You know, like when I caught the top last weekend, the charts were a lot more friendly to interpret. You're on Sunday, you create a high. But I already know from this point that this is a bullshit, fake Sunday pump. Yet, this level is going to be extremely important for my trades going into the next week. And then once we get that new week, once it's Sunday night, and a new Monday candle forms, it's tempting to want to trade this back down to the previous weekly VWAP, right? But no, you need to get that advantageous position. You need to target the prior session's high. And if you believe in this right here strong enough, if you believe in this strong enough, from this point, you're here on the chart, and you're already imagining this trade ahead, like in advance, right? If you believe in this trade enough, you could take this trade. So this move, boom, boom, this shit right here sets up two trades for you. It sets you up for a long back up to it and the short back to last week's VWAP. So, you know, that a lot of weeks will look like this right here. Whereas this week is a special fucked up week. The weekly low happens to be this is what we're working with here. If you take wicks away, which a lot of, you know, that's valid. A lot of market participants are going to discredit that wick as an anomaly, right? Therefore, the market as a collective, we as traders as a collective, may decide that, you know, fuck that wick, fuck Friday. You know, screw what happened on that day. The real bottom is pretty much just here. So it could be either of those scenarios, you know. It could be, I'd say this is the first line of defense and a valid level to look at what's going on. Look at the timing, look at the headlines. And you may see bounces here. Nice bounces, but you know, think about the timing here. You know, think if it was a bearish dump from the new week-to-date VWAP to the last week-to-date VWAP that ended up calling a larger top, it's almost like we should do the same here as well. So let me, what day is next Monday? Next Monday is the 20th. So okay, so on this day, the 20th, what if, I'm just going to draw some chicken scratch here just to give you guys a scenario of a potential kind of repeat of last week happening this week, but in the opposite. This was bearish. I would do the bullish scenario going into this week. This is extreme price action, so you got to cut me a break here, because this wick may not matter at all to the chart. I'm really not sure. But assuming it does matter to the chart, we do have some levels down here that would catch the price, right? So what if all week this is what happens? And we go right here on this new, or how about this? How about this? We come like this, Boom. And then from this point, then we start rallying up a little bit early. You know, we'll kind of front run it a little bit. And the new weekly VWAP comes here. Now what's happening is the current weekly VWAP will be overhead. The one that we're looking at right now. It's that orange thing. It's this orange thing right here. So imagine this VWAP following that price all week like this. And it's looking like that. I'm going to color it orange for you. From this point, you would set a long that looks like this. You see that? So we go into the new weekly session. We take the prior weekly low, and then we go back up and beyond like that. You know what I'm saying? So, usually if there is gonna be a bottom, it's gonna be around like the turn of a new week, right? If a big thing's gonna happen, you need confluence. It can't just happen on some random day. Usually, the big moves require an overlapping of circles, a confluence of magical ley lines in the chart. And usually that the timing of things really matters. So what the timing to me is saying is that we may not be out of the woods yet until next week, but next week, the turn of next week is likely a bottom. Like we'll get that Sunday fucked up dump price act, maybe in the weekend it dumps or something and then starts clawing its way back going into the Monday candle. And then from that Monday, all you got to do is just target whatever that low is, and that's probably the giga long all the way up to wherever, whether it's back up to the all-time high, then we dump again, or whether it's the final leg of the bull run. Does that make sense, guys? I'm just simply like assuming that this weekly low might want to be a target. Or sorry, this was last week's low. You know, we're in a new week now, so last week's low is a target for us. So hopefully that makes sense. There's not a lot of reasons to like look at the 5-day downtrend. You're kind of being irresponsible, even if this is the V bottom. Even if Bitcoin does come back and defies all of this bearishness, it's kind of like not the likely scenario. It's this 5-day downtrend. You'll be much happier longing in a friendlier 5-day trend environment. You know, always have that chance in a 5-day downtrend that it just simply keeps going lower, and like usually it's a new week that kind of bails you out. So, you know, look at this turn where the 5-day MA was down, then something happened, it shifted, now it's turning up. That's because the 29th was a Monday. You see? Monday. It's really not random, guys. You're playing Dark Souls, right? That the markets are like Dark Souls. If you don't roll when the monster throws his attack, it's gonna hit you. It's gonna one-shot you. You're gonna get game over. So, you know, you could have all the best armor in the game. You could have the most health points or whatever. The monster's still gonna kill you. Whereas some other guy who knows how to dodge and roll at the perfect time, he beats the whole game naked in 20 minutes. Because he understands that in this game, timing is everything. BTC dominance. Let's take a look. Man, oh man. BTC dominance doing what I feared earlier in the stream. At the start of the stream, I told you guys the 5-day trend had gone flat. This looks blow-offy to me. This is actually, you know, while this isn't sloped down, look at the gray line, not sloped down. We're in a neutral, indecisive kind of area for BTC Dom. But that's putting it nicely. You know, we just got this big blow-off move. I actually would not be surprised if Bitcoin dumps this week and altcoins kind of just have already seen the worst. The worst is already behind them. You're not going to get a, you know, on Pepe, you're just not going to get this price again, right? Makes sense to me. But I mean, we'll see if it happens. We'll see if I'm correct. Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. Man, what's going on? Let's take a look at the heat map. What's the heat map looking like on Bitcoin? This recent dump down was a devastating move for a lot of over leveraged late. I mean, look at these late longers. If you were longing in here after if you're on team flopping Groper, we were casting doubts on this as soon as the actual dump itself. You know, this establishing that firm level going into the weekend makes everything going on here a target for the new weekly session, right? And what we're seeing here is that little bit of advice that I gave you guys was correct. That these trades, these people back here, are now being targeted. And yes, they fooled you once, and yes, they can fool you twice. Someone in the chat's asking about my private Discord. Yes, I do have a Discord. It's different than the market site for Discord, but it's a little more close-knit. It's the people that I've done consultations with over many years, my own, you know, these are my clients and these are my people that have actually, some of them even got in for free, because last year I was doing 100 push-ups a day until 100K. And I invited anybody to do the push-ups and post them on Instagram with me. You do it for 30 days. I was letting them in here for free. And a lot of like students and a lot of people who had fallen through the cracks took me up on that. And it was really cool to like motivate a lot of traders to take care of themselves. That's something that we really don't talk about a lot, is how we all get fat as fuck. I mean, look at me. I was skinny last year. Now look at me. I'm a fat cat. I'm fat catting it right now. But the VIP is kind of like just my people. But the way you get it is you go to empoweredtraders.com and you just get my indicator. At one point, it was just a Discord. But I wanted to like make the Discord more valuable to people, and I wanted to have more ownership of my trading style, and I wanted to turn my trading strategy into something that I can give you, not just something that I tell you. And so to make the Discord more valuable and to make it worthwhile to people, I made the Leapfrog script, which is these VWAP levels that you see here. A very, very simple indicator. It's literally just You know, I'm not trying to overdo it here and give you like this crazy indicator that does everything. It's literally just the 18 different anchored VWAPs. You select which ones you want to look at, whether you want to be a big time frame trader or like a day trader. You can put some custom VWAPs if there's a special FOMC day or a day that's important in your life that you want to measure the volume weighted sentiment from that date. You can customize your own. And there's some other little things in here that I've been adding. One thing I want to add is prior session high lows. So I gotta admit that the VWAPs alone are not the full breadth of my strategy. I look at, you know, what was last week's high and low, what was last month's high and low, last quarter's high and low. I'm gonna add those into the script too, make them toggleable so that way it's like a little more alert friendly. But like other than shit like that, and maybe you know, maybe if I could figure out how to get the percent away from each VWAP, wouldn't it be cool if like this percent away from the Q4 VWAP, see how it's like 9.5? It should have a little green like 9.5 in the label. Or sorry, it would be a red so that's underneath it. So that's like just a couple things I'm thinking about adding. But if you get the VIP, you just go to empowertraders.com, click this leapfrog shit here. And no matter what plan you get, I'll give you the indicator for life. But you gotta understand that when I priced my Discord at 15 bucks a month, the people I was getting weren't my type of people, man. These people were falling off quick. They weren't seeing the value in what I was doing. It wasn't worth my time. And all that shit, you know? And so I've learned to value myself more. You know, a tear comes, I want to cry. I've learned to value myself. Oh. But you know, it's like this is for my presence in the Discord. That's what these price levels are. If you just want my script and you just want to pay attention to my streams and kind of like learn it on your own, and you don't really need to be handheld and you don't really care about being my friend, I would say just get 3 months of the Discord here with code platinum, 40% off. Stick around for 3 months, watch the tutorial videos that I got. I got some videos in this VWAP course section. There's all these nice videos that'll catch you up on everything that I've been building here. And also, anyone in my VIP can get free consultations. You literally, I mean, a couple people have taken me up on this, and it's been great. A lot of you guys still need to. But you will be shocked to realize that I am open to traders, unlike a lot of people in this space. So, you know, you get all these things. I would say just get it for 3 months. You get the script forever. I'll never remove it from your TradingView account. And you get everything in here for 3 months. You learn the strategy. You see a couple plays, and you're good, man. You don't need my ass anymore. Get the hell out of here. You know, I don't even want to look at you anymore. If I can teach you a new skill and then you move on with your life and go do great things with it, that's good for me. Shit, man, how long have we been going for? Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here for you guys. Happy to be talking to the traders. Make sure you guys smash the likes. And, let's see if, you know, let's see if we get some even more advantageous long entries. let's see if this 5-day downtrend across cryptos maintains, and gosh, I just hope the world is okay after whatever the hell news causes our A+ setup to unfold. If it does, it may not unfold, but if it does, man, what the hell happens in the world? Who knows, man? But cut your favorite analyst to break this week. You know, these guys work hard, and this is some price action that it's hard to come out in front of when something like this happens. But anybody who had a tough week, my prayers go out to you, and I'm here for you. And I'm not just talk. I'm here if you need me. If you want to set up a call, just find a time on my schedule. It's calendly.com/NickCypherFG. If you had a rough week, man, I will talk to you. And we'll see why it was a rough week. Was it risk management? Was it technical analysis? Was it things going on in your life that, you know, make it so, you know, maybe you shouldn't really be trading right now just because of you got X and Y and Z going on right now? Who the hell knows, man? But happy to be your friend in the trading world. I have results to back it up. You know, here's my monthly results on Breakout. So with the 100K account, I was able to run this shit up to 17 grand so far. So I'm up 17% without breaching. It's been a really good month for me, man. And I've locked in on Bybit. I've done even better. And I've locked in the majority of my gains. Like, it's off exchange. My success is guaranteed. I'm not like taking it and it's not gonna get fucked off. It's mine. You can't take it away from me. So yeah, man. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, man. I think that's all I got for you right now. I wish you guys the best. Have a good rest of the trading week, man. I'll see you guys on I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll do a little Wednesday midweek update. Hope you guys enjoyed the surprise stream.